What's going on, boys and girls? Guys, we're going to do a cornbread recipe, and it's probably one of the best cornbread recipes I've ever had. And I actually extrapolated this recipe from someone online that made one. That's my butter melting right there. It's one of the best and one of the easiest recipes I've ever done with cornbread. You guys try it. Make sure you got a cast iron pot, and let's go. All right, here are our ingredients. We're going to use some cornmeal. Make sure you use regular cornmeal, not that enriched stuff that has the flour in there. Regular cornmeal. And this right here was a white cornmeal here. We're using some gluten-free flour right here, guys. This is Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour. 1 cup of each, the cornmeal and the 1 cup of the gluten-free flour. I've done it with regular flour. I've done it with gluten-free. They're both good. We got 2 eggs here. We got a tablespoon of baking powder, about a fourth of a teaspoon, a fourth to 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Because you're using salt, I'm using salted butter, so I didn't want to put so much salt in there. So it's a fourth of a teaspoon here, but if you're using unsalted butter, you can use 3/4 of a teaspoon. And we got some honey, or you can use some brown sugar or some regular sugar. But we're going to use a fourth of a cup of honey, and then we're going to use 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And of course, to line your cast iron pan, you can use some oil. We're going to use some bacon grease to outline our pan, about 2 tablespoons of bacon grease. Let's put it together. All right, we're going to put our dry ingredients in first. We're going to put in our cornmeal here. That's just telling me that my corn. Oh, we're going to do some corny cornbread in this, guys. I'm glad that thing went off. We're going to actually use some corn that I made, some creamed corn to go in this cornbread. So again, that's the cornmeal. This is the gluten-free flour, 1 cup of it. Hopefully I mentioned 2 eggs that we're putting in here. We're going to put our salt and our baking powder in there. And if we were using regular sugar or brown sugar, we'd go ahead and mix that in as well too. So I'm gonna get that a nice little mix here. Get it nice and mixed. Just get it mixed thoroughly, y'all. We're gonna add in our egg. No eggshells, there you go. We'll give that a little bit of a mix. And you'll see it starting to come together. It doesn't look like much right now. We're going to add in about a fourth of a cup of honey, and we're just going to eyeball it, y'all. That's about a fourth of a cup. You really, well, I was going to say you can't mess it up, but yeah, you probably could mess it up. But we ain't going to mess this up. We are not going to mess this up right here. Now again, it looks like I'm making a mess, but I'm not. Put your butter in there. Get all that buttery richness in there. Now, if you wanted to use just regular oil in there, you could do that, but it's really gonna, are y'all seeing this? All right, it's really gonna take away from it. See how it's starting to come together now, y'all? See what that butter did to it? All right, now we're gonna add the buttermilk to it. And the buttermilk is gonna make it, and we're gonna just put a little bit of buttermilk in it at a time. We don't want it to be too watery. Now I'm gonna tell you something about this buttermilk. I ran out of regular buttermilk, but I had some of the Bob Red Mill instant buttermilk, so I used a little bit of that. So it kind of gives it a different type of consistency here. So it calls for 1.5 cups, but you kind of have to play it by ear, because even when I use regular buttermilk, you kind of got to play it by ear. And that's about the consistency that I want right there, y'all. So if we add any more, it's going to make it a little bit too watery. So we'll be right back. All right, another thing I should mention is make sure you put your cast iron pan in your oven when you first preheat it up to 400 degrees. We're going to take our corn here. Now this is cream corn. I made another video about shucking corn, and this is some of the corn that I made. This is actually 2 ears, and what I did is I boiled it for about 30 minutes. Of course, took it off the cob, boiled it for about 30 minutes, poured the water off of it. We added a little bit of salt and butter to it while we boiled it, and then we added a little bit of sour cream. And a little bit of sour cream was probably about 1/2 cup. So we're going to add this to the mixture. Now, you don't have to do this part, y'all. You do not have to do this part. It's still going to come out good. Give that a little bit of a mix in here. And again, it's not going to change the consistency. If anything, it'll make it better. Get that a nice little mix here. All right, then we're going to get our cast iron frying pan out of the oven here. And then we're going to add the oil to it. All right, just watch out because the handle is hot. We're just going to add a little bit of our bacon grease. I usually keep this in the refrigerator here, about 2 tablespoons full. Sometimes I'll leave it out on the counter. Y'all, I know your mama used to leave it out on the counter or in a big old jar, a can of Maxwell House coffee can on the stove. My mama did. All right, we're just going to let that kind of melt down here. All right, then we're going to add and be careful with this handle, guys, because I have done it way too many times. I'm going to add this to our pan, and that'll start preheating the bottom there. Get that all in there. See how the edges are already starting to fry a little bit? That's just going to give you a nice bottom and base. You don't even have to put any cooking spray in this thing. All right, this will be some of the best cornbread you have ever had, guys. I am not lying. I am not lying whatsoever. Last time we made it, my wife loved it. I loved it. And then, you know, keeping it gluten-free made it even better. So, but again, you don't have to make it gluten-free. You know, I talk about gluten-free stuff, but I always tell you the stuff that I use, you can use 1-to-1. So you don't have to use it. All right, we're going to pop that in the oven for 20 minutes, or you're going to you have to check your oven, because mine might be 20 minutes, yours might be 25 minutes. So just check your oven. All righty, y'all, there it goes. I let it stay in there for 20 minutes at first, but I didn't like the color of it. So I let it brown for another 5 minutes. May have done it a little bit over, but that looks good to me. This is what it looked like the last time. Had the little edges that are kind of dark here. You want to make sure it bounces back for you. This is going to be delicious. We're going to let this thing cool down. Now, another thing you can do as well, too, to really make it taste good, take you some butter and put it on top of it and let it melt down into it. So we'll put little pats of butter on it here and just let it kind of go down the sides. Let it melt down the sides, and it'll make it nice and pretty and tasty. Now, it'll be tasty even without this butter on it, y'all. But this right here just, you know, if you're going to make it, you got to make it right. Now, some people put honey on top of it. I'm not going that far. I got honey in it, so that's good enough. Oop, I had my finger in there. So, but yeah, see how easy that was, guys? I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to let the butter melt, and we'll take one more look at it. There you go. There you go. Does that not look good? So, guys, again, this is probably some of the best cornbread I've ever made. Every time I've made it, it's always come out good. Now, I added something different this time, so I'm sure it's still going to come out good. But my wife loved it the last time, and I loved it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a like. Hit the notification button to follow me, and the bell so that you can get notified whenever I make these videos, which I haven't been making a whole lot of them here lately, but I'm going to try to get back on the roll here. And, you know, give me a comment. Let me know what you think, how you've made your cornbread. And if you make this cornbread, tell me what you think of it. Like I said, it was some of the best ones I've had. And I've had a lot of good cornbread. So you guys have a great day. Peace.